Have you ever heard the saying that history is written by the victors? It's a phrase that suggests truth is merely the story told by the side that wins. Well, in the sprawling, brutal universe of Game of Thrones, would you believe me if I told you that the entire fate of Westeros, the lives of millions, and the line of succession to the Iron Throne were all decided by a single desperate sword fight in the middle of nowhere? What? Seriously? Let's journey back to the final days of Robert's rebellion, to a lonely tower in the mountains of Dorne, a place called the Tower of Joy. Here, a young Lord Eddard Stark and his northern companions faced off against the 3 remaining knights of the Old King's Guard, arguably the finest warriors in the realm. In the show and the books, Ned Stark and his Crannogman friend Howland Reed are the only 2 who walk away from that bloody confrontation, and they walk away with a baby. A baby who would be hidden away and raised as the bastard Jon Snow. His true identity is a secret so dangerous that Ned would carry it to his grave. And that one secret, that one promise would change the course of history. Now, obviously, I'm leaving out a few key details about prophecies and dragons, but it all comes back to that one pivotal fight that Ned Stark supposedly won. But imagine for a moment that he didn't. Imagine if the history we know was the lie. How profoundly different would the Game of Thrones timeline be? Well, that's precisely what we're here to find out. Welcome to Visions of Valyria, a channel where I make a change somewhere in the Song of Ice and Fire and see how that one change ripples throughout the entire universe. And before we get started, if you could leave a like on this video to support the channel, and even consider subscribing to stay up to date with the latest content, I'd appreciate it. And while you're at it, comment down below your favorite knight from the King's Guard and why, just so I know it's real. But now let's get into it. Picture this. It is the night of the Harrenhal tourney, torches flickering off blackened stone, casting long, dancing shadows across the ancient, blackened walls of the castle. The air is thick with the scent of wine, sweat, and ambition. But young Ned Stark, quiet, second son Ned, finds himself drawn to a different kind of light. He asks the violet-eyed beauty Ashara Dayne for one more dance. We know in our canon timeline that this was a moment of fleeting romance, a tender memory. But what if, in this story, he doesn't stop at a dance? What if, emboldened by the magic of the moment, or perhaps a whisper of fate, he asks for her hand? And what if she, surprisingly, says yes? The realm we know, the Westeros we've come to understand, shatters like a dropped goblet before the first song of their union even truly ends. One small decision, one moonlit promise, and suddenly, everything changes. One decision, one moonlit promise, and suddenly the North, with its ancient Stoic traditions, weds the vibrant red mountains of Dorne. Now here's the thing. This isn't just a romantic gesture. This is a political earthquake. This means no hasty, duty-bound marriage to Catelyn Tully for Ned, which means no strained Riverlands alliance born of necessity and duty. No Catelyn in Winterfell, which radically alters the entire dynamic of the Stark family. And, perhaps most significantly, no bastard called Jon Snow hiding in plain sight, carrying a secret that would eat at Ned Stark's soul for 20 years. Instead, the Starks gain the finest knights in Dorne, legendary warriors like the Daynes, whose skill with a blade is unmatched. The Daynes, in turn, gain the Wolfswood's unwavering loyalty, a powerful northern ally. And Robert's rebellion? It gains an alliance that could very well end the war before the first snow falls. How profoundly different could Westeros become when love, not the cold, calculated hand of duty, writes the vows that bind houses? It's a question that echoes throughout this entire alternate history. So, after the tourney in 281 AC, instead of returning north alone, Ned and Ashara slip away to Starfall, the ancestral seat of House Dayne, a beacon of white marble nestled in the Red Mountains. It's a place of breathtaking beauty, far removed from the grim practicality of Winterfell. Ashara's brother, Arthur Dayne, the legendary Sword of the Morning, clasps Ned's forearm, not as a polite acquaintance, but as a brother. He calls him family. Lord Dayne, the head of the house, a man of keen foresight, sees this match as far more than just a romantic liaison. He views it as insurance. You see, Aerys, the Mad King, is growing madder, more paranoid and more dangerous with each passing week. A northern ally, especially one as honorable and respected as Ned Stark, may just keep his house alive when the dragons inevitably fall. Ned, of course, writes to Winterfell. Rickard Stark, his father, ever the ambitious strategist, smells opportunity. A southern bride, a Dane of Starfall, means not just swords of star-forged steel for the north, but a direct, powerful line to the Martells of Dorne. This is a diplomatic coup. And Hoster Tully? He's appeased because Brandon the Wild Wolf still weds Catelyn, binding the Riverlands firmly to the Starks. So in this scenario, everyone wins, or at least, everyone thinks they win. Everyone, that is, except the old world order, which is slowly but surely beginning to unravel. Their wedding is a quiet affair, a stark contrast to the lavish, politically charged ceremonies usually seen among the great houses. They marry in the castle sept at dusk, the fading light filtering through stained glass, painting the stone walls in hues of purple and gold. Ashara, radiant, wears ivory and amethyst, colors befitting her Dornish heritage and the Dane sigil. Ned, ever practical, wears plain gray wool, but his eyes, his usually quiet, reserved eyes, shine brighter than dawn itself, the legendary sword of Starfall. The only witnesses are a small, intimate circle: Arthur, Ashara's sister Illyria, and notably, their friend from Harrenhal, the young Crannogman Lord Howland Reed. Yes, the same Crannogman who will later nurse wounds at the tower that never falls. His presence here, a quiet observer, hints at the profound yet subtle shifts already taking place. Rumors of this unexpected union do eventually reach King's Landing, but Aerys is far too busy sniffing out imaginary traitors among his own shadows, lost in his growing paranoia. The realm yawns, oblivious. It has no idea it just pivoted on its axis, setting in motion a chain of events that will rewrite its entire history. Months pass, and the quiet joy within Starfall deepens. Ashara quickens with child, her belly swelling with the promise of a new generation. Ned, giddy with hope, a side of him rarely seen in our canon, tells his new good brother Arthur that if the babe is a boy, they will name him Jon. Not after some ancient Stark ancestor, but after Jon Arryn, the venerable Lord of the Eyrie, a man both Ned and Arthur regard as the last truly decent soul in the Vale. Starfall's maesters send their prayers for a safe birth, their hopes tied to this new, unexpected union. Meanwhile, far to the north in Winterfell, Benjen sulks, perhaps a little, because he's still the spare heir, now further down the line. Brandon, ever the teasing older brother, makes light of it, ribbing him about needing to steal a Dornish girl of his own. Everything feels possible, everything feels safe. The world seems to be settling into a new, hopeful rhythm, until, of course, the Raven arrives. The Ravens carry news that Rhaegar Targaryen has abducted Lyanna Stark. This news is followed by another, more ominous raven. Aerys has summoned Ned's father and brother, south to King's Landing. The fragile peace shatters. Brandon, hot-headed and impulsive, rides for King's Landing, burning for Rhaegar's blood, his father Rickard in tow. We know how this ends in canon, don't we? A brutal, unjust execution that ignites a rebellion. But here, the dominoes tilt in a very different direction. Because Ned is in Dorne when the Ravens reach Starfall, the news of his father and brother's summons arrives not in Winterfell, but by the shimmering sea. Arthur, loyal and bound by his new familial ties, insists on accompanying Ned north. "You are my sword brother now," the Kingsguard tells him, his words carrying the weight of ancient honor and personal devotion. "Your quarrel is mine." This is a monumental decision for a Kingsguard, abandoning his post for family. He refuses to desert his post. Ned travels north with other Dornish support. They leave Ashara, heavy with child, guarded by the best blades in Dorne, a formidable host in her own right. Ned swears he will return before the baby crowns, a promise made in the shadow of impending war. Fate, as ever, has other, far grander plans. Lyanna's disappearance, the catalyst for so much bloodshed in our timeline, still lights the fuse. Robert roars for war, his fury a tempest across the Stormlands. Hoster Tully, his daughter Catelyn, now a widow after Brandon's brutal execution, demands swords from the Riverlands. Jon Arryn, ever the steady hand, calls his banners. Yet this time, when Ned sails from Starfall, he doesn't come alone, a lone wolf returning to his pack. He brings with him 500 Dane spearmen, hardened Dornish warriors under Lord Ashford's command, and in a move that would shock the realm if it were known, Arthur Dayne himself. Technically still a Kingsguard, the Sword of the Morning rides in secret, a silent, deadly force for the rebels. This provides the rebellion with an early southern corridor, a vital strategic advantage. Supplies flow freely through the Prince's Pass instead of being bottled up at the Trident.
Rhaegar, meanwhile, finds Dorne's neutrality wavering, a critical blow to the Targaryen cause. Oberyn Martell, ever the Viper, admires Arthur, respects Ashara, and whispers in his brother Doran's ear that Alya's husband, Rhaegar, has gone too far with Lyanna. Doran, ever the cautious strategist, stalls for time, but Oberyn's sellswords, loyal only to gold, and perhaps a little family honor, slip north to join the rebel host. A two-front war, both north and south, begins to close on the loyalists like a wolf's jaws, squeezing the Targaryen regime from both ends. Now we come to the Tower of Joy in 283 AC, but it unfolds very differently. Ned's small band, bolstered by Arthur in the Dane contingent, reaches the tower before any siege lines can even form. Inside, Lyanna is alive, weak from childbed but lucid, her eyes clear. She clutches a newborn girl, Visenya by name, silver-haired like a Targaryen, but with the striking violet eyes of her father. Arthur kneels, tears streaming down his face. "We are on the wrong side," he says, his voice thick with emotion, the weight of his Kingsguard vows finally broken by a higher loyalty to the innocent. The Kingsguard trio, Sir Gerald Hightower, Sir Oswell Went, and Arthur himself, surrender without blades drawn. Their honor, a code far deeper than any oath to a mad king, demands they protect the babe, not the dying regime. Dawn, the legendary sword, is laid at Ned's feet, a symbol of a new age. The bloodbath we remember, the tragic duel that defined Ned's life, never happens. Instead, Ned gains 3 legendary swordsmen as allies, a living sister, and a niece whose undeniable claim to the Iron Throne will haunt every council chamber from Old Town to Qohor for decades to come. With Arthur and Oswell Went riding beside him, a sight that would be utterly unthinkable in our canon. Ned reaches Robert just before the Ruby Ford, before the fateful clash. He tells his friend the tower's truth. Lyanna lives, she bore Rhaegar's child, and crucially, the war can end without further senseless slaughter. Robert, half mad with relief at the news of Lyanna's survival, still wants Rhaegar's head, his rage a powerful primal force. The two duel on the Trident, just as they did in our timeline. But now Robert fights with Dane cavalry at his flanks. Their swift, deadly maneuvers a game changer. Rhaegar falls, the rubies scatter into the river. But the profound difference is what follows. Instead of a headlong, vengeful sack of King's Landing, Robert, tempered by Ned's counsel and the promise of a swift end, calls a parley. The loyalist remnants, leaderless and demoralized, bend the knee. Tywin Lannister, thwarted in his ambition to be the hero, never needs to storm King's Landing, never stains his house with the infamy of the sack. Aerys, abandoned and cornered, dies by his own wildfire. Not at the hands of a Lannister, but when Jaime, urged by Arthur Dayne to uphold a true knight's honor, ends the tyrant early. The city is spared the lion's butchery, Jaime's honor remains untarnished, and, incredibly, the dragon's children, Rhaegar's other progeny with Elia Martell, survive in nursing arms, a testament to a less brutal end to the war. With the war concluded, a new royal family takes shape, and new pacts are forged. Robert weds Lyanna, a bittersweet union, but one that crucially cements the legitimacy of the new Baratheon dynasty. Elia, freed and widowed, returns to Dorne with both her children, Aegon and Rhaenys, under Oberyn's fierce escort. Dorne's loyalty, a prize Ned knew was vital, is bought by Ned promising that little Visenya, Rhaegar's true daughter, now Robert's stepdaughter and ward, will one day foster at Sunspear, binding the Martells to future peace and ensuring their place in the new order. Ned, newly titled Warden of the North, heads home, not with a lie, but with Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning, carrying Dawn across his saddle, a living legend now bound to the Starks. In Winterfell, Ashara has already delivered, a black-haired boy with storm-gray eyes named Jon Stark Dayne. The North cheers, the Maesters record a legitimate heir for the Lord of Winterfell, and Catelyn Tully, widow to the martyred Brandon Stark, remains at Riverrun with her newborn son, Robb Stark, the heir to Winterfell until Jon's birth. The wolves that will rule the next generation are Robb Stark, Brandon's son, Jon Stark Dayne, Ned's legitimate heir, and little Visenya, Robert's ward, three bloodlines braided together by the crucible of war and the intricate dance of diplomacy. And because Jon is trueborn, because he is the legitimate son of Ned Stark and Ashara Dayne, Ned never needs to live the lie that cost him sleep for 20 years, the secret that haunted his every waking moment. Ashara raises him with stories of starlight and fallen stars, of Dornish sands and northern snows, blending cultures in his very upbringing. He trains under Arthur Dayne, the greatest swordsman of his age, not just learning how to wield a blade, but learning that honor is more than a word, more than a pretty sentiment. It is a blade you polish every dawn, a code you live by, a burden you carry. Jon grows fierce, courteous, and utterly convinced that North and South are not opposing forces, but two halves of the same sword, stronger together. When years later Mance Rayder stirs beyond the wall, Jon rides to the Frostfangs not as a lonely bastard seeking purpose, but as the young sword of the evening, a legitimate heir, sworn to guard the realms of men and women alike, a respected leader who understands both the cold North and the passionate South. His journey, his very identity, is fundamentally different. The ripples of this single choice spread across the entire realm. Tywin Lannister, robbed of a grand royal wedding for Cersei and the infamous Lannister sack of King's Landing, schemes in Casterly Rock, his ambition still burning, but without the monstrous reputation he gained in our timeline. His name is merely cold, not synonymous with butchery. Cersei is betrothed to Edmure Tully, a political match that ties the Westerlands to the Riverlands, a far cry from her incestuous, power-hungry path. Jaime stays in the Kingsguard, untainted, admired, a true knight. Littlefinger never gains the Vale's stewardship so easily. Lisa Arryn's affections drift elsewhere, perhaps to a more suitable match, and the Lords Declarant keep their titles, preventing the chaos that destabilized the Eyrie. Across the Narrow Sea, a young Targaryen brother and sister, yes, Viserys and Daenerys still live, saved from the immediate wrath of Robert, grow up in Braavos under Kinder Guardians, dreaming of dragons, certainly, but lacking the burning fury of exile and desperation. Their path diverges dramatically. Across the sunset sea, Euron Greyjoy, that kraken of a man, hears whispers of a strong North Dorne alliance, a united Westeros, and hesitates before sticking his metaphorical hand into the mainland cookie jar. Even beyond the wall, the others sense the shift. The wolves are fewer, yes, but the realm's blood runs warmer, more united, more prepared. Winter may yet be stayed by mortal hands working together. For 2 decades, Westeros prospers, experiencing an unprecedented era of peace and stability. Robert drinks, yes, but never to the point of becoming the obese, ineffective king we knew. Lyanna's sharp wit and political acumen curb his worst impulses, keeping him focused on the realm. With no Lannister debt, the crown's coffers overflow under the brilliant stewardship of Master of Coin Willis Tyrell, Mace's crippled but undeniably brilliant son, who transforms the realm's finances. Trade routes flourish, opening through Planky Town and connecting the distant corners of the Seven Kingdoms. Lemon cakes reach Winterfell faster than direwolf pups can be born, a small but telling sign of prosperity and cultural exchange. Ashara, as Lady of Winterfell, establishes a Dornish embassy in White Harbor, a vibrant hub where merchants sing in rhyming couplets, blending northern and southern traditions, and eagerly exchange recipes for snake stew. Bran the Builder's walls stretch even higher, fortified with Dane gold, and the crypts beneath Winterfell echo not with mournful silence, but with songs of ice and starlight, a testament to a blended heritage. But as we know in Westeros, peace never truly lasts. Viserys, now 27, lands in Volantis with sellswords and the burning memory of dragons, a shadow from the past. Daenerys follows, clutching 3 fossilized eggs, her own destiny yet to be forged. The realm must choose: support Robert's stepsister Visenya, trueborn of Rhaegar, a symbol of continuity and stability, or bow to the exiled prince who claims pure Valyrian blood, demanding his birthright. Ned, Hand of the King once more, a seasoned statesman, rides south with his son Jon and his brother-in-arms Arthur. The realm holds its breath. Sand snakes hiss in Dorne, lions roar in the Westerlands, wolves bare teeth in the north. The dance begins again, only this time, every major house has a stake in both sides, their loyalties fractured by generations of intermarriage and complex alliances. It's a civil war waiting to happen, but with far higher stakes and far more interwoven loyalties. To avert this looming civil war, a great council convenes in the ruined Hall of 100 Hearths at Harrenhal, a place steeped in history and tragedy, now chosen as a symbol of renewal. There, Visenya, now 20, cloaked in stark gray, a symbol of her upbringing, offers herself as queen, a pragmatic choice if the lords desire continuity and peace. Viserys, arrogant and entitled, scoffs at the idea until Jon, Ned's son, unveils Dawn, its pale blades shimmering like moonlight on snow, a stark reminder of the power and honor it represents. The sword chooses, Arthur intones, his voice carrying the weight of ages. The lords murmur, memories of the last great council, the one that chose Aerys, still haunting older hearts. A compromise born of necessity and wisdom emerges. Visenya and Viserys will wed, uniting their claims, bringing together the different facets of the Targaryen legacy. Jon Stark Dayne, a man of both ice and fire, becomes Lord Commander of a new royal guard, aptly named the Dawn Watch, sworn to defend both the North and the South, both ice and fire. Daenerys, freed of marriage politics and the weight of a forced claim, sails east with her eggs, chasing legends of dragons across the Red Waste, seeking her own destiny, unburdened. Westeros steps back from the brink, not by conquest, not by bloodshed, but by arranged love, an echo perhaps of Ned and Ashara's moonlit promise long ago, a testament to how even the smallest choices can create the grandest peace. If this world of star-crossed wolves, where honor and love reshape destiny, tickled your brain cells, then you know what to do. Smash that like button and subscribe to Visions of Valyria. Tell me below in the comments, would you rather serve in the noble Dawn Watch, sworn to protect the realm, or chase dragons across the Red Waste with Daenerys, forging a new legend? Your comment might just shape the next what-if scenario we spin. From a single dance at Harrenhal, a quiet moment between a quiet wolf and a violet-eyed beauty, we followed ripples that turned into monumental waves, a powerful North Dorne alliance, a rebellion shortened, a character we know as a bastard born as a true heir, and a realm stabilized, only to yet again find itself teetering on the brink of dragonfire. Ned Stark's heart chose Ashara, and Westeros became something stranger, yes, but also kinder, and in its newfound peace, perhaps far more fragile. In one timeline, he carried home a lie wrapped in winter roses. In another, he carried home hope wrapped in starlight. Which fate feels truer to the spirit of Game of Thrones? You decide, because in the Game of Thrones, even love, a force often underestimated, can change the board, one vow at a time.